Welcome, everyone. I'm Michele Cobb, publisher of AudioFile Magazine, the #1 source for audiobook reviews in the world. And today I'm very excited because I'm here with Cassandra Campbell to talk about the latest addition to the Shady Hollow Mystery series, Mockingbird Court, which sees investigator Vera Vixen square off with a cold-hearted serial killer and the ghost of her own past. Not only is Cassandra the voice behind all 6 of the Shady Hollow Mysteries, but audiophile listeners may recognize her from her Earphones Award-winning narrations for Where the Crawdads Sing and The Scribe of Siena. And Cassandra was inducted into Audible's Hall of Fame in 2018, and we were lucky enough to chat with her in 2021 when she was named an AudioFile Golden Voice. Welcome back, Cassandra.
Thanks, Michele. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, can you tell us just a little bit about kind of a summary of the book series for those who aren't familiar with Shady Hollow Mysteries?
Yes, absolutely. So the series is by Juno Black, which is a compilation. It's a nom de plume of 2 writers whose names are Jocelyn Cole and Sharon Nagel. And the books are set in Shady Hollow, which is a little town, an imaginary town in a hollow, in a beautiful land surrounded by water. And Vera Vixen, the protagonist of the stories, is the town's reporter. And she works for the newspaper. And the thing that's unique about the Shady Hollow series among Cozy Mysteries is that all the characters are animals. And the authors ask us at the beginning of each book to suspend our disbelief and not get caught up with the fact that there can be a romance between a bear and a fox, and that all of these people who live in this town are different animals and they interact in a quasi-human manner, let's say. And so there's always a mystery that Vera somehow gets caught up in and has to solve in each of the book. And her romance is with Orville Braun, who is a bear, who is a cop in town.
And is she the fox then?
Yes, Vera Vixen is the fox. So the whole town is peopled with different animals, which makes it incredibly fun to narrate.
Now, this is the 6th book in the series. So, what's it like to stick with one series through so many audiobooks? And, what are the joys and challenges for a narrator when returning to old characters while still adding new ones?
Yeah, so the thing about doing any series is that you really get to know the characters inside and out, and they just, like any good books, the characters live not in your voice but in your head. And when you get to return to them over and over, you find more nuances every time, the relationships develop. And I think that's probably true for the authors as well. So things just get more, the relationships get more complex and more nuanced, and I get to play that. I have another series that I've done 28 of.
Wow.
Yeah, those books I know just like inside and out. Like those characters, they live in my mind even between the stories.
And do you have like spreadsheets that you keep track of everything on?
I do have extensive notes, yeah, and actually my husband directs all the Shady Hollow books. And we're like longtime theater collaborators from, like, we've been married almost 30 years now. So, we have a long time of collaborating on creative projects. And so we collectively save notes. And also the authors are very generous in the Shady Hollow series about giving us really good notes for new characters that they introduce in each book. So we have compiled a list of all of the people that we interact with on these books. I keep some voice clips also of certain of the characters, but for the most part, the characters, the recurring characters, the major recurring characters, I just know inside and out now. So those don't require any notes. I just know exactly who they are and where they're placed in my kind of in my voice.
Now, were there any moments in this book that were particularly difficult to narrate emotionally? I often find in, books about murder, you've got some really tense moments, but not necessarily emotionally difficult.
These books, no, there aren't emotionally challenging moments here because they're cozies and we're not getting really graphic in a way that just makes you sick to your stomach. And I've done those books and that's painful. I would say the thing that's difficult in these books is there are a lot of rodents.
Oh, right.
And you have to find ways to differentiate between them. Like, how does a chipmunk sound different from a mouse, sound different from a rat, sound different from a squirrel? So that's right. That's where you have to kind of get inventive and go, okay, what are we going to do here?
Well, then, which character did you enjoy performing the most?
So there's a lot of really great characters in these books. And part of the fun for me as a narrator is it's because I'm playing animals, it's just I get to be a little bit bigger than I am as a narrator in a lot of the types of books that I normally do. Books like Where the Crawdads Sing or Scribe of Sienna, the characters are human, they're smaller, but the characters are pushed out a little bit. And so I get to play in a way that I don't normally get to do. And I'm so grateful to Linda Korn, who cast me in these books, for giving me that chance to be bigger and do some kind of show off a different or indulge in a different series of skills, right? So some of the characters that I love, Vera, obviously, because she's smart and she's a fox and she's cool and she's figures stuff out, but she's kind of maybe closer to me vocally. But her best friend Lenore, who's a raven, is really big and she talks like this and and that's so much fun to play. And then there's this character called Bradley Marvel, and he is this writer and he has a very big dramatic personality, and in my mind he's based on Gilderoy Lockhart as played by Kenneth Branagh in the Harry Potter movies.
Oh, yeah.
He's very conceited and he has this big, exaggerated sense of himself and he's overdone, and that is so much fun to get to do, to get to just be really playful. Orville's really fun because he's a bear and he's got this, I have to be careful not to blow out my voice, but I've learned to where he's placed. And then there's B.W. Stone, who runs the newspaper, who's the boss, who is kind of like a J.K. Simmons in the Spider-Man movies. Hard, like, get out there and get the story. And it's just a blast to get to do that, to get to do all of it together.
And how long did it take you to record this audiobook?
So this one I think took 4 days in the studio. I mean, there's so much prep work that you do before, but the studio was like 4 days.
And with these fun titles, is that a sort of a typical day of recording? Because you've got all these big voices to do you have to record a little bit less each day? Or because you're not being emotionally taxed, can you record more?
They're just so much fun that they aren't taxing to do, because they kind of just carry you along. And I don't want them to end because I'm just like, oh, this is such a fun world to be in. There's a lot more prep work. There's a lot more work on the front end with these kinds of books because you have to, figure out what you're going to do with some of those characters. Like in this one, there's a cat who's a house cat. And we had a friend coming to stay for the weekend. And when he got to our house, I was in the middle of listening to a lot of different animated cat voices to try to figure out, like, what kind of cat is she going to be? What kind of cat does she sound like? And I ended up going with some variation on the Aristocats cats.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you had a great time recording. And obviously, we have a great time listening, but is there anything in particular that you hope listeners take away from the performance of Mockingbird Court?
I I just think, people who like cozy mysteries, this is such an unusual and fun and immersive and really vividly drawn world to be in. And I just hope that the listeners, yeah, have as much fun with these characters and hearing these characters and kind of imagining them in their own way as I have in getting to voice them.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us and talk about a cozy mystery series. That's always nice. And thank you to Penguin Random House for helping create this episode. For all our listeners, please be sure to visit AudioFile's website for reviews and sound clips from thousands of audiobooks, including Mockingbird Court by Juno Black, narrated by Cassandra Campbell. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
And everyone, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast so that you can help others to find us. Thanks for listening.